Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ed Thompson. I live at 501 Champions Point. I'm also here representing Preserve Johns Creek. I'd like to address something I see as a pattern in Johns Creek, and for that I'll start with T-Splost. Though that is certainly not the first example, it's also regrettably likely not the last. In the lead up to T-Splost, Johns Creek residents were inundated with mailers, sometimes 2 or 3 a day, flooding our mailboxes. Those mailers were sent primarily by self-serving special interests who stood to benefit financially from a positive outcome. Those mailers promised the traffic congestion relief we so desperately need, and thus we were handed our carrot. On a different front, we were warned that failure to approve T-Splost in Johns Creek would still submit us to taxation from Fulton County, but with none of the promised benefits. And there we had our stick. Concurrent to all of this, our city government conducted a roadshow that was nothing short of a thinly veiled sales pitch in favor of T-Splost approval, with all due repetition of both carrot and stick. With the heads I win, tails you lose approach, we were offered some protection, mitigation against the risk of T-Splost projects that would potentially run counter to community interests. We were assured repeatedly and vehemently that all T-Splost projects were just budgets, that no project would move forward without a review and consent of our elected city officials. With a carrot, a stick, and assurance of some measure of protection, T-Splost passed by the narrowest of margins in Johns Creek. Several months after the pass and the vote, the rules changed. Months after the vote, we suddenly heard we had no discretion over T-Splost projects. What changed in 6 months? What happened to the vehement assurances that our elected officials would have a measurable say and thus be accountable to Johns Creek residents? Now we're talking about Michigan through U-turn configurations at Medlock Bridge and State Bridge Road. We're assured repeatedly that Peachtree Corners is also preparing to install Michigan through U configurations, and we won't be alone in radically altering traffic patterns with an option that is not used in any other municipality in Georgia and in a situation different from that in Michigan. So forgive me if I'm skeptical. I've seen this game before. It doesn't end well for the residents. Our city government has work to do to regain at least my trust in its transparency. I'd like to see written confirmation from Peachtree Corners regarding their intent and timing on a Michigan through U-turn configuration. Anything less is proven to be an empty promise. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Would anyone else like to offer any public comment at this time?
Mark Andres, 9765 Knollcrest Boulevard. Once again, the work session being online, it's either a blessing or a curse again. This evening while watching it, there was discussion about the Michigan Through You and whether or not Peachtree Corners has decided to put them in or not. And my concern is this. We seem to be doing a lot of work in this city over the course of the last 2 years where we walk in, a lot of promises are made, a lot of statements are made. The veracity of those statements are falling into big question lately. Michigan Through You is about a $12 million project, I believe, 11 to 12. But yet we need to put in extra information that may or may not be true to try and sell your citizens on it. Unfortunately, this isn't a one-time affair. This happened on many occasions. T-Splost, gentleman before me covered that one pretty well. Park bond. You guys sold us park bonds, so we're going to take care of 5 parks. Here we are 2 years later, haven't broke ground on one. As a matter of fact, we tabled so far the 3 pocket parks that when it was first sold, discussion was first up. Those were the 3 that were going to be done because they were small, they were part of the community, and they were going to be taken care of first. Now we don't even have the money to do those, let alone Cauley Creek. We're kind of struggling along on TPA Lakes. Then we had the great City Hall that came in. Need to purchase this thing now. We can remodel it at minimal cost. Here we are now, getting ready to open it, 3 times what the first projection was when you guys made the purchase on that property. A lot of misstatements in that one that got us to the end result that we're at now. Fire station. Once again, we walked in on the fire station. We can build this, $1.4 million. Here we are, you guys just approved to go to plans at 2.4 or something like that. Big kick up. The reason for the 1.4 was when it was presented to you, it was presented as a single bay, single story fire station. I watched a work session where the fire chief looked at you not that long ago when you were going through it going, we never would have proposed that. It was always a 2-bay, 2-story fire station. But yet the 1-bay, 1-story was used to get you guys to purchase the land. Then we went into this year's budget. It was touted as the year of the stormwater. Here we are, a couple of months later. Mayor does an op-ed where he talks about the 3 things that we're going to do in this city. Guess what? Not one mention of stormwater. Not one. So I ask again, I look for accountability in the statements that come out of you guys. We cannot keep going around this circle. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment.